Gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Timmons, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ray. Let's go back to Enron. That trial was from January 30th, 2006 until May 25th, 2006. Pretty lengthy trial. I imagine that the federal prosecutors presented ample evidence. There were all kinds of witnesses. Would it have been helpful to have the defendant testify before Congress for like 6 hours and answer a whole bunch of questions under oath prior to that trial? Would that have been helpful to federal prosecutors?
Well, by that time, the company had been confirmed out of bankruptcy. We had
before he was arrested. Would it have been helpful for him to come before Congress and testify for hours on end and answer every question that we could come up with?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
So it would have been really helpful.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay. So why 36 hours before he was scheduled to testify before this committee for hours on end did the Southern District of New York send a provisional arrest warrant to the Bahamian government to facilitate his arrest, to preclude his testimony, which would have been incredibly helpful in the prosecution of Sam Bankman-Fried?
I mean, I obviously can't speak for the agency.
It's kind of bizarre. I mean, I was a prosecutor for a number of years. I prosecuted complex white-collar cases. The thought of getting 6 hours of congressional grilling for a target of investigation or a defendant, that would be great for my case. So I just don't understand. I guess the grand jury returned the indictment on the 9th. Technically, you can delay weeks if you want to. So this was a decision made by somebody at DOJ to prevent Sam Bankman-Fried from coming here in a couple hours and testifying before Congress, answering questions in front of the American people. I've read his alleged testimony that he was going to give. He's basically saying that he lacks the criminal intent. He lacks mens rea. He's saying that his attorneys pressured him into filing Chapter 11, that he immediately, after doing a DocuSign to sign away everything, said, I don't want to do that, told his attorneys, again, this is all what he says, told his attorneys that undo it, I do not want to do that. And it seems that he's been taking steps ever since that to try to wrangle control of his companies back. Is that fair to say?
You know, I can only read what you read in the press. I haven't talked to Mr. Fried.
So my friend from Wisconsin was talking about Chapter 15 versus Chapter 11. And that's basically the Bahamian government or outside, what do they call it? Joint provisional liquidators are trying to wrangle control of this bankruptcy. Is that fair to say?
It seems that way, yes.
And arguably, you're going to be going after the $100 million that was allowed by 1,500 Bahamian citizens to take out that was allegedly owed. You're still going to get to the bottom of that. So you plan on going after that money, correct? We'll
investigate every potential cause of action.
And if 1,500 people in the Bahamas were allowed 25 and a half hours to withdraw $100 million, do you plan on trying to get that back and distribute it appropriately?
We will certainly pursue every course of action to recover.
Okay. So where do you go from here? You're obviously going to do everything you can to maintain control of it and keep it in Chapter 11. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say. I mean, you know, we think the bankruptcy process here is the one place that has transparency and has the greatest ability to maximize value for creditors. But these things aren't usually mutually exclusive. We work with liquidators all the time on a cooperative basis. So this is a little bit unprecedented.
I think that's fair to say. This is going to be a law school exam for many students in years to come. I'll end with this. I really look forward to figuring out why the Department of Justice issued the provisional arrest warrant to preclude Sam Bankman-Fried from testifying before us this afternoon. I do not understand it. As a former prosecutor, the thought of him going on the record for 3, 4, 5 hours and answering every question to try to keep his alleged mens rea out of this would be wonderful. So I look forward to figuring out why they did that. With that, Madam Chair, I yield back.